Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Scruty, and after more than a year and a half, it is time to continue the Advanced Zenyatta Guide series and add another entry to it, and namely, it's going to be about positioning. And I decided to do it a long time ago, actually. I was a coach after making the original guides, the 4 parts, and I was coaching for almost a year. During that time, I've seen a lot of gameplay, a lot of players ranging from low gold to low GM, and a lot of them made the same positional errors and mistakes. And back then it occurred to me that, hey, I should actually make a proper guide about it. I kind of touched upon positioning in I think part 3 of the original guides, but I kind of dodged the topic back then, saying it's too complicated and there are too many things that I have to factor in to make a proper guide. So I didn't really talk about it, but now it's clear to me that it's a very important aspect of Zenyatta gameplay, so now I'm doing it. And also there's really not a lot of information regarding positioning on the internet or advice. It's just usually very general, basic, or vague kind of info that doesn't really mean anything or doesn't really steer you in any direction. It's just basically like stay behind tanks. Well, yeah, okay, but positioning is way more complicated than that, and hopefully we're gonna talk about all the scenarios. I have a lot of footage, all the scenarios, different types of compositions, and how you should play within them, how you should play against certain compositions, and so on and so forth. So without further ado, let's get to it. All right, so before we get to it, let's establish 5 staples of positioning. And these are gonna be our main ideas that we're gonna refer to throughout the whole guide, the positioning part at least. So let's get rolling. Okay, so looking at this, first staple, solid cover. Look, I'm playing with these 2 huge chunks of solid cover. My rain is here as well. So I'm using his protection, the rain shield, as an auxiliary shield, as an auxiliary cover, because rain shield is unreliable. He can be hacked, repositioned, the shield can break, he can swing or fire strike, and during which time you're not enjoying the protection that the shield provides. So solid cover is always superior, and you should always choose solid cover. And there's also, because the setup right now is the enemy DPS are just basically on the high ground, so we enjoy the safety of the pavilion as well. So I am very safe right here. So this is the first staple, solid cover. Next one is playing in general within your team, with your team. And I'm a little bit in the back right now, but I still can count on my Mercy coming to help me if things go bad for me, or Zarya giving me bubble, or my DPS peeling for me, and so on. So just playing with your team is also important, because if the enemy team pushes into us, you should rotate then, and if you're with your team, you can then rotate with them instead of being separated. You really don't want to be separated, because Zen is a very easy target to get, and so you always want to rotate with your team. Next one is going to be play in line of sight. Look at what's happening in this clip. I still see the fight. I still have a lot of bodies in front of me, my teammates who I can help with Harmony, but I can also use Discord on the enemy Rain right there who's contesting the point. I can still pump damage to charge my ultimate, and no better way to charge your ultimate than spam tanks. And at the same time, the enemy DPS, they sit high ground and they cannot even see me right now. There's virtually nothing they can do to get me. And even if they have tracers, there's also something to consider. If they play flanker heavy composition, then position yourself in a way to mitigate the possible flank approaches. So in this case, there are only 2 flank approaches, both to the left and right, both through a relatively narrow hallway and passage, which is good for me because fighting in a narrow hallway generally favors Zenyatta's. So this is good. Playing line of sight, this is another staple. Next one is going to be playing around health packs. Anywhere you are, you kind of want to be near a health pack, at least one. In this case, I have 3, both minis to the right and left, Mega behind me. And the last one, kind of a minor staple, but still something to keep in mind when positioning, is like, let's say the fight gets hairy or like Diva Bomb gets thrown in. Even if it lands here, do I have somewhere to escape? Do I have an escape route? And yes, I do. I can either rotate right side toward my spawn, or I can rotate left side to safety and just in general. Even if it lands exactly where I am right now, I still have this little nook on the left, which I can take to protect me. Rain Discord, Rain War.
That's random.
Over. And before we move in and dissect all the little clips that I prepared, this is a old clip of mine. I think it's like season 8 or something. And look what's happening. It lags here. Okay. This is ML7, by the way, and the point I want to make before we begin is players of this caliber punish mistakes 10 times out of 10. Look where I am positioned. I am right in the middle of between two very nice chunks of cover, and I take the fight having 90 HP, which is ridiculous, but still, my point is, you want to actively think about what you're doing when you position. Because Overwatch is a very intense game. There is a lot of things happening at the same time. And kind of positioning is sometimes just automatic. You're kind of going through the motions. You don't think about it because you think about other things. And positioning you should make conscious effort when positioning because it's such a vital part of the game. And there are so many factors that influence how you should position that it really requires conscious effort to realize what's happening. And in this case, I wasn't thinking about how am I positioned because I just left cover to be right in the open. And again, players like this, the higher you go, mistakes will be punished quicker. And at the same time, if you want to punish mistakes, it's going to be a little bit harder to get picks and so on because enemy players will always play near cover, and even if you damage them a little bit, they are one step away from taking cover and being safe. So yeah, with that in mind, being conscious about what you're doing, thinking about your positioning actively, asking questions, why am I here? What are the advantages for me being in this spot, or disadvantages? So in this case, the engagement is about to happen, and as of now, I'm just having this little passage through which I can deal damage, but also I've taken away any possible angle from which the enemy can attack me. So it's a good trade for now. As I can see my team rotating left, I also want to rotate left, but I'm going to take a fully covered approach through the room. As opposed to, like, let's say you're kind of distracted, you're not really thinking about what you're doing, and you kind of, maybe some players would go in the open and at the same time exposing themselves to enemy fire. And this is how oftentimes fights begin. Somebody makes a positional mistakes, it gets punished, all of a sudden is a 5v6. So you want to be conscious, always reposition, always, if you can help it, always use cover, solid cover to approach and to reposition. As you can see, the enemy team is moving left, they go in point because they got a pick. This is kind of getting too dangerous for me, so now it's going to be time to move back. There we go, I'm going to rotate again, rotate back through cover. Here is another example of just approaching through the choke. Even if you don't have a proper shield, you can still use the bodies of your tanks to just basically body block damage. But look what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna try to use Winston as a body, as a shield, and I'm also gonna stick to cover as much as I can. And even that I did, I was glued to solid cover, and I used Winston. I still took 100 damage. So, you know, and again, this is what I'm talking about. The higher you go, people will be more skilled when it comes to taking advantage of any positional mistakes. And right here, I already took 90 damage. I don't wanna risk it and just go to main gate. I have no problem with taking a few extra steps if it ensures my safety. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna go through the room where I am entirely safe. And yeah, they're gonna have EMP, that's why I'm gonna move a little bit back. We're not gonna talk about EMP in this clip. We're gonna talk about Sombra in general later, because she influences the game in a very profound manner, especially for Zenyatta. We're gonna talk about it later. Next thing I wanna talk about is just being glued to cover and being really friendly with corners, because corners are your friend. As you can see, Sombra decloaks behind me, she starts shooting me for 8 damage, and that's the point. Before she can do anything, I am already, because I always play corners, I can always turn the corner and break line of sight, so Sombra doesn't see me anymore, which means I'm safe. If she wants to attack me again, she herself has to turn the corner and attack me again. So corners, that's a very useful thing. And right now, they have a spam composition with bunker. I don't want to give them an additional space for them to attack me. So I'm not going to go through this area. I'm actually going to stop and move back and use this car for this a little extra bit of cover. Everything matters, everything counts.
I'm ready to engage.
And as I'm rotating from the car towards the high ground, I want to do it as quickly as possible in a straight line, no deviations from the path. Okay, there we go. I'm playing bottom left of the point because we kind of pushed up, which is fine for me right now, but as Winston is saying that he's going to be backing up, there we go, he's going on Genji, and this is not a safe position for me anymore, because if you... Wait, what happened? Oh my god. Okay.
It's okay. They're gonna be coming in, I'm backing up.
Yeah, backing up.
Winston low. I'm going on Genji.
Alright, because when you draw a line right now, like the front line where my team is, I am at the front line, and this is unacceptable. I shouldn't be here. I realize this and I move back. The enemy Winston realizes as well. He jumps in, but I turned a corner. So even though he tickled me a little bit, I used the pillar to turn the corner and break line of sight. But this, I'm kind of want to rotate right side again because I know the Winston's pretty close. This is a risky play, but they go for the Widow. I still want to create separation right now because both Winston and Genji are in our backline. So again, I want to be glued to a corner and don't give them opportunities to attack me. I'm turning the corner, I'm safe. Genji kind of sees if he can take this fight, he can, so he escapes, uses his abilities. So it's just navigating cover and always turning corners to stay safe. And this is going to be a prime example why you don't trust range shield and you should always trust solid cover. Just pay attention to Zarya and Mercy, who's to the right. And we expect a shatter. And there we go, that was really close, but my Mercy's shattered, my Zarya is shattered because they were playing the Rain shield. Rain got repositioned, he got booped upwards, and that allowed the enemy Rain to shatter, but because you can always play a bit further back, you can always kind of play with this corner that gives you solid cover, it allows me to avoid the shatter.
I should be able to save that.
And here it's just gonna be rotating covers and giving the enemy little daylight, few opportunities. Like you see, and I wanna pause right here because look at this little passage. This is the only direction from which I can take damage. I have solid cover here. There are boxes to the left. There's payload providing cover, and even though there's a shield, it might as well not be here because I am pretty safe right now. There's solid cover all around, and there are 2 tank bodies between me and the enemy. So even if the shield wasn't here, it would still be okay. Also, one additional thing, I was kind of moving in and out of covers. I think it's important for Zenyatta's to change covers often because you want to keep the enemy guessing, and at the same time, you just don't want to stick to one spot too much because good enemy players, they kind of notice tendencies. If they see you kind of stick to one spot a bit too much, they're just gonna shoot preemptively in that direction, knowing that you're there. So that just endangers you. And besides, I think the best Zenyatta's just keep the enemy guessing, and they volley from one side then from the other, and it's just never really obvious where they are. You cannot really pinpoint where the enemy Zen is.
Pulling.
So switching covers often.
Rain on the left.
Rain discarded. Alright. in this clip. So in this clip, the fight breaks out on point. I don't really want to play the pillar in the middle because I feel it's too close to the fight. And at the same time, the enemy DPS are in front of me. I want to move back. I want to move away from this fight, and I want to take solid cover. I don't just want to play in this area because I'm exposed to the enemy DPS fire. I want to move all the way back and use this huge pillar for safety. And now, as I'm here and I kind of cut off the enemy DPS line of sight, I still have line of sight on the point, so I see my tanks, I see the enemy tanks and stuff. And I can also rotate. I have this piece of cover, I can rotate between them, get a few shots in the meantime. Even if somebody's want to shoot me, when I'm gonna pass from one cover to the next, it's gonna be so quick. It's not really given much time to the enemy. There you go. Soldier shot me a little bit. Even if I took a helix, I would survive because it was just so little time. I also managed to pick Moira in the meantime. So all good.
I don't have a good angle this time.
Okay, and this is also a little reminder that Zenyatta's primary fire deals way more damage against shield. In shield wars, you wanna spam M1 as opposed to charge shot. And there's also this technique of just cover shooting, like peek shooting.
Pulling.
So you basically play this one piece of cover, and you go out a little bit, and the moment you're out, you just release the shot, and then you immediately move back to cover and rinse and repeat, and you just spam like this, enjoying as much cover as possible. Keep in mind it's also risky. You should also try to rotate covers because the enemy team will notice this and may kind of shoot in that direction because they know you're there. And this is just in general, in relation to all the staples that we mentioned at the beginning. Let's see this position, how it is. Like, so far, there are only two approaches the enemy can attack me from. One is main, the other is behind me. I have a health pack to the right. I see the entirety of the fight that I'm interested in. I see everyone from my team. I'm close to my team. I'm within Diva's matrix range. So yeah, everything's really good. But what's interesting in that play is, as my team starts rotating right, I immediately notice this and rotate as well. Because if I stayed behind, that's no longer a good spot anymore. Because if ball rolls in and Genji dashes in, my team is already has already rotated and nobody can come to help me. So it's very important to realize when rotations happen and move with your team. You always want to be with them.
I'm going on Anna's at the back. Oh, ready? Going on.
As for line of sight,
I'm on Anna at the back, no nade.
There you go. You see a Widow. That's a missed shot. Hopefully, fortunately for me.
Anna
But it's obviously a clear sign for me right now that, okay, I need to hide. I need to play this staircase and block the line of sight. It's a good position still because the fight is happening here, so I can do everything that I have to do to sway engagement, which is use orbs, deal damage, which I do, and at the same time I'm just really wasting this Widow's time because she knows I'm here. She's just waiting till I peek here. Her crosshair is fixed in this position because so not only by sheer positioning and pretty much only positioning do I influence the fight and I use all my abilities, I charge my ultimate and stuff, I'm also wasting Widow's time, kind of taking her out of the fight indirectly because she's just hoping I'm gonna peek, which is just never gonna happen.
Mercy.
And yeah, that Widow was there all the time waiting for the peak, which never happened. In the meantime, her team is dead. And I have 70% ult charge while playing safe all the time. Alright, next Widow example, this is gonna be an approach from the enemy team on the right side, while the Widow occupies the left side balcony, trying to get a pick. So that was a risky play from me. I know there's a Widow there now, so I'm gonna try to be way more careful now and use this piece of cover to remain safe. This is a risky pick. I shouldn't do this. Peek, I'm sorry. Also the jumping, I shouldn't jump. It's risky. You shouldn't jump. Also kind of over enthusiastic when it comes to moving forward. Widow almost got me. I contained myself in time and moved back, but this is what you want to do. Widow's on the left side, and let her be there. I can still influence the fight on the right side by being smart, playing this piece of cover. So just playing line of sight, recognizing where you need to be, and just denying the enemy opportunities by position. And same's gonna happen here. They have dive with Pharah and Widow. And both Pharah and Widow play this area. So I wanna be a little bit more to the left. And there you go. Like when I'm here, Monkey cannot do a 90-degree turn when he jumps. So basically, by staying in this spot, I mitigate the threat from 3 enemy DP enemies. 3 enemy enemies from 3 enemy heroes. And I still can do all I need. There's still Ana on the right that kinda has an easy time healing me. If something goes wrong, I play by Ashe, who can help me if we get attacked. And there's also this little soft flank spot. So again, just denying the angles from Widow, Pharah, and also Monkey. He cannot jump me in any way. He would have to jump in and then crawl towards me, which is not really a good idea. Alright, moving forward. This is gonna be against a very coordinated dive. And they were hell-bent to just attack me every single time. Playing Zen and dive is very difficult. And they also have a Widow, so as you can see, immediately as I see the Widow on the left side, because I'm cutting off all her angles, apart from top left or on the shuttle. I'm playing by the forklift in the boxes, so she cannot damage me, but I'm also way in the back. If their enemy Genji and Monkey wanna reach me, they have to use all their abilities and cooldowns to attack me. Like here I have trance, so it's okay.
Okay, Mercy 1 as well.
Alright, but as they already know that I am out of trance, and you know they call out that, Zen after trance. So I know that Monkey and Genji are gonna come for me again once their cooldowns are off. So I intentionally move further back, because if Monkey lands here, I'm gonna be out of range of his Tesla cannon. Plus, I also have a Hanzo here, so this Hanzo actually swings the fight in my favor. And that's what happens. Monkey jumps in, he took the bait, and he's escaping right now. And so is Genji. Genji was late, but they cannot take that fight. It's not a good fight for them. But I want to kind of move back to this clip, because I had trance here, so it was okay. But if I didn't, if they came at me like this, it's also, look, if I'm playing this area and Monkey and Genji dive me, use all of their abilities to kill me, and they do kill me, I'm still kind of playing as bait, and I'm doing my job in terms of, yeah, sure, you can kill me, but if you use all your abilities, because I'm forcing you to come to me, use it. And I also block the line of sight of their supports, so their Ana is there. She cannot help whoever is behind the boxes or in the room to the right, because it's out of line of sight. So it's like playing this trade, being a bait. They killing you, sure, but they're using all their cooldowns. They are kind of away from their team, so they cannot get help. And if my team collapses on them, they should be on top of that fight.
Diving with her. Okay,
but in general, playing Zen and dive, it's just very tricky. You're the first target every single time. And oftentimes, playing Zen and dive means being bait. But least you can do is just play out of the range of abilities.
Help, Monkey 1. I can't kill him.
So they cannot just easily get to you. And this is kind of also, this is also against dive, this is also kind of what I mean. If they have dive, they have tracer. If tracer, let's say, wants to come and get me, the only approach for her is through this area. And this is gonna be, I'm gonna see it coming way before she can actually be a threat to me. So, and if Monkey Diva want to attack me, they also have to use their movement abilities to get to me. So playing high ground, just staying safe. If they really want to get me, they have to force abilities. And if they don't get me, as you can see, as you could see, I'm still having a very nice vision on the fight, and I can influence it with my abilities, damage, and so forth.
Nice, winnable. Two up.
Stay on the left.
Monkey's right side, monkey's right side.
Alright, this is again dive with Widow on the ruins. And yes, Widow's left side, and you always want to be mindful of it. Fortunately, there are the huge pillars, and that's just what's gonna be it. I'm gonna still try to help whoever I can, but I'm also gonna play around the pillars, cutting the vision for Widow off, so she doesn't see me. I'm here. I kind of maybe too far back, but in general, I'm playing this pillar, so she doesn't see me.
Yeah, I'm going out.
Yeah, I'm going out, but she's actually going in. But that's fine for me because it allows me to reposition and move left side. Widow is also left side, so if she's left, I also want to be left because then she doesn't see me. So again, using solid cover to just cut off the angle.
Right side.
Yeah, go for stun shot,
And in terms of playing out of abilities, like against dive, like here it's against Ghost, and I know Ghost is irrelevant now in the advent of 222, but it's still relevant when it comes to death ball comps. And as you can see, I'm coming out of trance and I'm using the last second to separate myself from the fight. In this case, I'm only worried about Mei and Brigitte, because these are the only two characters that have some sort of abilities that are dangerous to me. They have stun, they have freeze. So I'm just separating myself this few meters so I am outside of these attacks and abilities. Because if I stayed in the middle, they would freeze me, stun me, whatever, I would be dead. But because I went back, I'm able to stay alive.
Sorry. They're gonna recontest, definitely.
So in terms of abilities playing outside of range, the way I like to visualize it, like, yeah, as you can, to kind of move back and to start properly is, yeah, I'm playing right side, there's still this cover, we're pretty confident we're gonna take it, but they come in and decide to invest every ultimate known to man, which is okay, but now I wanna rotate. I see that this fight is not as easy as we thought, so I'm rotating left side. I wanna get to some solid cover while being with my team on the left side. I don't wanna be cut out and stay right, but I also wanna play outside of abilities, and the way I visualize it as well is having this kind of engagement circle. So let's say Rain or your main tank is in the middle of that engagement circle, and you always want to be outside, on the outside of that circle. It's like a force field that pushes you back. And if you adhere to this, if you kind of always think about engagement being as, like, here's Rain and here's the circle I should play, oh, it's kind of more or less, there's the circle that I should be out of, on the outskirts of, because that was Grab, that was Doomfist ultimate, I was way out of range for them. Now it's Shatter, I am out of range again because I'm respecting the circle, and it's EMP, and again I'm not EMP'd because I'm out of range of all the abilities, because I'm taking my distance, I don't want to be too close. Okay, this is gonna be a little bit of an unorthodox clip. Like, first off, they have Treehouse, and the way you want to play against Treehouse is just different angles of attack, different approaches. And yeah, as they saw me, I kinda spam, they saw me, and I'm moving all the way back because I'm expecting Orisa pull, because Bastion probably called it out like, hey, there's Zen there, so I'm just moving back, respecting the Orisa pull. But as I see it's not coming, I'm moving forward again. And I'm just gonna be spamming again. Like, the only character in their composition that can contest me is D.Va. But D.Va has to stay on point to contest it. So I have free reign to just sit here and spam the Bastion. And we slowly force them to use abilities. There's Res, there's the lamp from Baptiste, and finally Orisa misplaces her shield, at least from my perspective, and I can get some free shots on Bastion, forcing him to get up and reposition.
Sombra's down. I have blade. I can blade up.
And yeah, there you go. Bastion gets up. He has to reposition, and it kind of falls apart. And all the time, Genji is farming his ultimate. So this is just a patient approach.
How hard is this Genji getting pocketed? Holy, I mean.
Can we kill Mercy? Kill Mercy. Kill Mercy.
Mercy's the one.
Just different angles, patient approach, and just doing your job within this team composition.
Winston. He's got power.
This is also a bit of a controversial one because this is Gibraltar point A defending and positioning from the server room as Zenyatta, and I'm just alone in here kinda. But I like this position because you have a health pack behind. You can go for the soft flank on the left, and you also play out of line of sight. You know, anybody who's here, they don't see you. So anybody who wants to come and attack you, they have to probably use their abilities and get to you, and you have pretty nice protection here and a mega health pack. And there you go, that's the soft flank I was talking about, getting Anna.
Winston's dead. They're two down.
And you know, these two huge things. They're very helpful because again, they kind of serve as corners. Whoever attacks you here, you can use these corners to break line of sight for a second and take the health pack.
Two down. I'm on cart.
You're one up.
I got the hack.
Yeah. I'm on.
And a Mercy got hacked. That's unfortunate. And as I'm being pushed like this, that's when you want to use your Transcendence.
Sombra translocated.
I'm gonna get out. I want to help my monkey now.
Okay,
Get out of
Sombra.
that place because it's hot there.
No, they're not.
But I'm coming back now. It's a safe space for me.
You're up.
Sombra dead. I'm sleeping. They're trying
Because
to
there's
EMP. They're trying to
Genji
EMP
ult
or not
and
EMP. They're
yeah.
trying.
And again, that's what I said before. I'm gonna use this to turn a corner. Then I'm gonna remember how to fight against Genjis, which is, you know, they're just gonna double jump. So it's an easy prediction. I'm gonna take the health pack. Genji's probably saying, hey, Zen is low in the server room. Monkey's gonna jump in, but I'm already 200 HP. And if somebody burns their abilities to come to me, my team can also just follow and protect me with Matrix and whatnot.
I'm healing.
So it is a controversial spot, but it gives you a lot of protection in that they can only attack you from this area pretty much, unless they go in top. But you know, your team will let you know that, hey, you know, they come in top. In which case you're just kind of rotating either top right or bottom right from this area.
They're trying to EMP. Or not EMP. They're trying to nano the blade. I'll come back. I'm healing.
Monkey's one.
And again, Zen is kind of a juicy target. Everybody always wants to attack Zen, so you're kind of being a bait.
Guys, if they are like trying to stall
And here
for
it's something different. I intentionally, as you can see, I intentionally played a rain shield as opposed to solid cover because they have a Sombra, and she already attacked me from behind, from the tunnel. And that's usually how Sombra operate. They want you to make a 180 spin to see them, so they attack from behind. So I intentionally play here to not be in the line of sight of Sombra, because she's just in this little passageway waiting for me to move back so she can hack me or whatever, or attack me. But right now I'm intentionally playing forward and playing the Rhine shield instead of solid cover. But as they move in, they use nano and they move in. It's time for me to move back, and it's immediately Sombra hack. That's what she was waiting for. But you know, it's also just using corners, because I was playing here basically, so Sombra didn't see me. So using the environment to protect yourself from hacks.
Anna McCree.
And just Sombra attacks in general.
They might have double stun comp.
They have McCree, Ryan.
And on Rialto, I don't recommend playing further back on the left, to the left, where the alleyway is. I think the alleyway is very dangerous. You shouldn't play there because there's Hanzo or Widow. You don't want to take that fight. Okay, so there was a call out about Sombra, so I want to be close to my team, but I also want to be glued to the cover, and I want to be able to turn the corner if she attacks me from behind.
One half.
Oh, big, Kazari.
And that's exactly what happened. She managed to take 80 HP from me, but as I recognize that the attack is coming, I immediately turn the corner, get the safety of my Mercy, solid cover. There you go.